Hi, everyone. I'm so excited today to have four best-selling authors here on this Google Hangout for an interview. My name is Vilma Gonzalez from Vilma's Book Blog, and I have A.L. Jackson, Christina Lee, Molly McAdams, and Tiffany King. And we are here to talk about their latest project, When We Met, which will be out on November 4th. This is the story of four girls who live in a house together while they're going to college. So we'll be talking about the story and about a few other things. And so glad to do this. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So this will kind of be a fun, informal interview. We're going to kind of take it as we go. I've got a few questions down, and we'll go ahead and get started. So my first question really has to do with the story itself. So, Amy, if you don't mind starting, tell us a little bit about the concept of the project and a little bit about your own story, and then from there we'll move on to Molly, Tiffany, and then Christina.
Awesome. Well, I have our cover here, so pretty, totally love it. Well, I was so excited when I heard about this project. Claire, my editor at Penguin, wanted to do something kind of unique where we were able to create four stories that were separate and individual, but then also that would mesh really well together. So that's kind of where we came up with the idea of having the four roommates living together, and it was just such a fun project, and loved being able to work with everybody, and it's just such a blessing to be here. My portion of the story is Behind Her Eyes, and it's the story of Misha and Darren. And to me, really, it's Misha's story because it's about this very insecure girl who left home to kind of find her own way and stepped out and immediately got burned. And so it's kind of that second chance story where she this time really tries to learn who she is and accept who she is and not change herself. So it's kind of fun because we get the hot guy to be along with her on that journey and show her that it's okay for her to be herself and to be shy and reserved and that sort of thing. And that's just part of who she is. And it was just a fun story and a fun journey and a little sexy too. So that was super fun.
And Molly, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm not really that great at explaining my stories, but my story is Saving Me, and it is Indy and Kier. And I feel like Indy and Kier are both a little bit broken. I know a lot of stories, usually it's one of them, but this one is both, and you don't really find out that until kind of like the end of it. But Indy has just had a lot of stuff going on the last couple of years in her life, and so she's just partying and kind of making bad decisions, trying to just forget about everything. And there's this guy, Kier, who is basically saving her from herself. And then, I mean, Kier's just amazing, but the great thing is, what I think just rounds him out so much is that we find out that Indy's really saving him too. So, I don't know, I really liked them. They were a lot of fun to hang out with.
That's a pretty good explanation right there. So, Tiffany, you are next in the novel. What can you tell us about your story?
Great. Now I want to read the back of my book. Can I read the blurb?
No.
Follow me, Molly. That's tough. So, mine is about Dalton and Courtney, and Courtney works at a sports bar, and Dalton's a basketball player, and Courtney has a big attitude, and Dalton's trying to figure out why, because they have a past history. And so the whole story is him trying to figure out what he did to make her dislike him so much.
That's pretty good too. And Christina, you close out the novel. Tell us about your story.
I do. By the way, Molly, I like how you had the books in your back on your back shelf over there in your shot. Well, my story is about Chloe and Blake. I would have to say, of all the new adult books I've written, this is probably my lightest of all of them, and I think our book has a good mix of some heavier and some lighter. I don't know why I felt compelled to say that, but I just wanted to. But Chloe and Blake, they hate each other at the beginning based on a misunderstanding, and there's a lot of sexual tension. She's a really uptight girl trying to become a fashion designer. He's a dropout and works on a construction site. And throughout the story, they play the truth or dare game, and that leads to revelations about themselves, and then, you know, the sexual tension becomes resolved.
Yay! Well, so when I just finished the book in the last week, and I loved it, but I did notice that all 4 stories have a number of things in common. So each girl has been wronged in some way by someone else. Each of them struggles to kind of let that hurt go, to keep it in the past. And then the stories also focus on that magical moment when boy meets girl, or, you know, boy sees girl again. Were all of these aspects intentional, or was it a coincidence? Was there a particular aspect that you wanted to focus on for this project?
And if I'll answer, if that's okay with everybody. I don't think that we planned it that way. I think we all knew. I mean, we had been communicating from the beginning about our ideas. I think it just really just follows, you know, the romance kind of formula, you know, boy meets girl. In new adult, maybe there tends to be, you know, a lot more baggage. But I think we all knew we wanted to do dual points of view in each of our stories, and I think that worked out really well. But no, I think it's just coincidence that we happened to all, I mean, we knew as we were talking what everyone's story was kind of going to be about, and I think it just worked out that way.
It seemed completely intentional. It seemed really perfectly planned in terms of how the stories weaved into each other. And, you know, speaking of that, they can each kind of be read as standalone stories, but the characters kind of weave in from one story to the next because the girls all live together. And so we kind of see, you know, for example, you know, Misha and Darren appear in Indy and Kier's book, and so on and so forth. So did you guys have to consult each other frequently on, you know, carrying that over, carrying the voices over, or not so much?
I'll answer that. That was, I mean, I think people thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was. Like Christina was saying, we had a chat going, so we were constantly talking about our characters and everything. But, like, for example, since Amy went first, I got to read Amy's story after, and I just wanted to make sure that my book reflected hers well, and like vice versa. And it was so funny because we hadn't talked that much about it, but it was just like so perfect. I think we all picked up on each other's characters just from what we'd been saying, that we didn't have to like sit there and actually go, oh no, we need to change this, we need to make it this way, and all this needs to be perfect. It just happened, I thought, really, really well and really easily just from what we'd been talking about our characters in the group. So I thought it was great how it happened. I couldn't believe it.
It seemed very, very seamless. Like you were in each other's heads. From a reader perspective, it just seemed to carry through really nicely from one story into the next.
Oh, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear.
You know, one of the difficult things is because it is, you know, one story. Each of the stories is you know, somewhat short. Was that a difficult thing? I know that Amy and I talked about it when she was writing her story. Was it difficult to try and capture the story in such few pages and be able to have, you know, the setup, the climax, and the resolution in a limited amount of space?
Well, I'll answer that if that's okay, because I'm probably the wordiest person here, and I tend to write really long books, and Molly writes longer books as well. And I think we went into the project knowing that it was going to be shorter and that it probably would just feel a little bit different than what we normally do. But I know that we all worked really hard to make it a full novel in a shorter number of words. And so I think we just kind of like cut out some of the, you know, details that maybe we just didn't necessarily need. We just really kind of encompassed their lives in that short period of time. But I think it just really came to life with all the stories. And to me, I didn't ever feel like any of the stories were just a short story where you didn't care about the characters. They were just long enough that we could definitely fall in love with every single one of the stories and know those characters well. and it was just great. I thought it was perfect, the amount of words we were allowed, and it felt good when we finished.
You know, because I think some of the stories, even especially in yours and Molly's, for example, there are some pretty kind of significant emotional topics that are explored in such a short, you know, range of pages, and I thought you guys did a really good job being able to, across all 4 stories, keep a lightheartedness to it, but also have it be sexy, and some have, you know, tackle some emotional topics. I thought you guys did a really, really great job in being able to broach those subjects with a limited amount of you know, word space that you had.
Thank you.
So this is, you know, it was mentioned a little bit earlier. This is in the new adult category, and I think it's a really wonderful time in a person's life to write about. You know, there's so much uncertainty. There's, you know, like Christina said earlier, there's a lot of baggage during this time, but there's also so much feeling and hope as our future kind of gets molded, especially for these characters that are, you know, in college. And as they fall in love. But we've seen a lot of stories that are, you know, similar sounding. And, you know, I want to know from you guys, from the experts, what do you think is coming, you know, next for new adult? Or, you know, just if you could kind of comment on new adult as a category in general.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay.
I was thinking Tiffany was talking.
I'll take this one. Do you want me to do this one?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it, Tiffany.
Okay. Sorry, the screen is really throwing me off. I think that new adult is an evolving category. I think that it's going to have growing pains just like YA does. And so until all of us kind of find that groove where we're not kind of writing the same thing, you're going to get a lot of the same stories. I'm hoping, you know, like the paranormal that's starting will help, and eventually that'll be another subcategory where you'll get more of those elements, and it won't just be we're in college and we're falling in love in those kind of situations and stuff. My next one that Berkeley bought is A Shattered Moment, and the whole beginning of the book has to do with a car accident, and I know that, you know, it felt better to write something that wasn't just, oh, I met him today and I love him kind of thing. So it was a different change, and I hope that all of us continue to look for something different, because I want new adult to stick around.
Does anybody else want to mention their thoughts on this?
Well, I'll say something. I don't know. I know that new adult has kind of gotten a bad rap recently. You know, just like what Tiffany was saying, it is an age category, and I know that contemporary romance is the genre that's been put out there most. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm still reading lots of fresh new adult contemporary that's out there. But yeah, I think that there's definitely room to expand. And, you know, even a couple I've seen recently where, you know, somebody has a child, or, you know, and I understand what Tiffany was saying, like, you know, to write something different. Like, one of my books takes place over a summer instead of, you know, in college. But I don't know. I mean, I do really hope the genre, or no, not the genre, the age category sticks around. Because I think it's like a, you know, we're like, not pioneers, but it's like a, you know, there's a lot to explore, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but yeah, that's how I feel.
I would say, oh, sorry, go ahead, Molly.
Go.
Oh, are you sure? I just wanted to say really quick, you know, I think that, you know, it's definitely a category and even a genre. I think that it's here to stay. I know people will get worried to even call it a genre, but I think as it expands and grows, it will ultimately become that. And I have to think like back to, you know, as a kid, I read, you know, contemporary romances and historical romances, and historical romances were basically all exactly the same, and I still ate them up. And to me, it's always been about the character and the voice of those characters and what they're going through. It doesn't necessarily matter that they're, you know, that there's a certain thing happening throughout each book. It's it's what's happening inside those characters and how they're affected by it. So I think there's a ton of room to expand and grow and just explore those emotions and the different situations that we all face or had faced when we were that age.
Agree.
Molly, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, well, what I'm excited about is something that, like, I know we've been saying from the beginning, like, oh, it'll eventually get there, and now it is getting there. Like, for example, Cora Carmack is coming out with a paranormal new adult, and that's something that I've been so excited for, because when I very first got into reading, I was reading young adult paranormal, and so I love the age group for new adult, and I love paranormal, so just putting it together, like I said, it's something that we've been wanting to happen, and now it is happening, so we're already expanding, and it'll be here soon, and there's just so many other possibilities that will be thereafter.
It's such a great time to write about, you know. I mean, even thinking back in my own personal experience, it seems just like you're, you know, a canvas for so many things to happen. So, and I agree with you, Molly. It seems like we're seeing some, you know, new adult paranormal and some other kind of niche kind of stuff happening within the category, which I think is really exciting as the, you know, the category continues to evolve. So. Well, let's go around kind of the virtual round table here, or the Google horizontal table, and let me know what you guys have coming next. Christina, let's start with you. You just had a release.
I did. My fourth book in the Between Breaths series released, and I do have a fifth book that's coming out, but nothing has been announced. I haven't been able to announce what it is yet, but I think my readers will be surprised. That's all I'm going to say, and hopefully they'll be excited for it. And then I have an adult contemporary romance coming out in 2015, May of 2015, called Two of Hearts. And I was really excited to write adult, actually, to try that category, and that's all. That's all I can say for right now.
Other than the secret book, and it's going to be really good, even though you can't talk about it yet. Let's go to you, Tiffany.
I have. Let me pull it up. I only have the galley copies of it, so I have. Can you see that? Contradictions.
Yes.
Okay, sorta. Not really. iPad's not working very good. I have that coming out January 5th. January 5th, and then I have, and that'll be through Berkeley, and then I have A Shattered Moment coming out in May, which we'll be doing the cover reveal for on Monday. So those are the next two big projects I have coming up.
Awesome. Molly?
Well, I have another book coming out the same day as When We Met. It is called Letting Go. This book is, I'm very excited for this book to come out. I was really surprised by like where it kind of went to in the story. I wasn't expecting it to go there, and it's I would say probably, like, other than Taking Chances, it's one of my most emotional books, but I think a lot of people are worried that that means a bad thing, and it doesn't. It's like a good emotional. But I'm just so excited for people to have this one, and like I said, it comes out the same day, so it's going to be a really big day here. And then after that, I have a bunch of books coming out in 2015, but one that I know a lot of my readers are excited about is Trusting Liam, and that is the Liam from Taking Chances. It's when he's all grown. He's like 24, 25 during the story, and his, or the main girl in there is actually Kennedy, and she is one of the twins from the Forgiving Lies series. So we get to see all of the favorite characters from the Taking Chances and the Forgiving Lies series, and we get to see them all grown, and I don't know, it's so fun. So I'm excited for the next few books coming out.
That's awesome. And Amy?
Well, my next that I have announced is Come to Me Recklessly, which is book 3 in the Closer to You series, which I'm so excited about. I'm doing the editing right now and getting it all wrapped up, so that's super fun. And then I have a special project that we haven't announced yet that we'll be announcing actually with Vilma in the middle of November, so I'm super excited about that, and it's actually going to be coming out before Come to Me Recklessly, which is going to be really cool, so it's an extra little treat for everybody.
So lots of secret projects in the group.
I know.
Takeaway here. coming to us soon. So that's really exciting.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me tonight to talk about When We Met. I don't have the other copy, but Amy can maybe, this is the galley copy of it, but there we go. Yay! Yay! It's a gorgeous, gorgeous cover, by the way. I absolutely love it. But it's coming out November 4th, so you guys watch out for it. Watch out for the links that will be included as a part of this interview. And thank you guys so very much for spending some time with me through the technical difficulties and all, and answering questions about When We Met. Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.